Good evening, CFT Nation. We are back with another live episode. So my name is Ray Roskis. I'm the co-host of your CFT Live. And with me, is, as usual, is my co-host, Wendy Lockman, president of CFT. It's going to be an exciting show.
We have a great show planned tonight. A lot of facts that we've been wanting to share for a while.
Yeah, it's episode 9 in our series. It's hard to believe we've done 9 of these already.
I know.
We originally thought we would have about 15 shows, and we have about 20 more kind of planned out and lined up. So
as long as people will keep listening to our story, we have a lot still to tell.
And keep sending us information, because we're getting a lot of tips and information from folks.
I do. I feel like it's really fun to sometimes open my inbox or to get, phone calls from people I haven't talked to in a while with stories I haven't heard.
Yeah. So what do you say we get into this week's episode, The Chosen One?
The Chosen One. Okay, let's get started.
So before we actually dive into the main segment of The Chosen One, I think we need to do a little bit of background. We need to talk a little bit about maybe how we got here. But I guess we should say who The Chosen One is about first.
I bet people kind of already know. Yeah, we should say.
Yeah. So we're going to talk tonight about the superintendent, Curtis McCall Jr. He is the chosen one.
He is.
And as I said, we have to discuss a little bit of background. We need to lay some groundwork. People have asked us a lot of questions around how we got here.
It's a really unusual negotiation cycle,
I
think. And I have a really narrow frame of reference because I've only worked in Cahokia, but
Sure.
I look to you and other labor leaders to say what's happening to you really isn't normal, and people don't understand.
Right. Yeah, this is in my, 20 plus years of doing this, almost 30 now, I guess. This is the most unique, worst experience that I've had negotiating a contract. So how did we get here? Why is he creating positions? Why is he into the nepotism thing with friends and family? So we need to look at the past.
We wanted to look at history, and all the history teachers at Cahokia High School are gonna like this. And I think that really helps understand what's happening in this bargaining cycle, because it's not the first time it's happened to these individuals that we're working with.
Yeah. So in doing that, we're going to look at a couple of newspaper articles, because as we do things here, we do things with facts, with supporting documentation to show our viewers, or we talk to lots of folks to corroborate stories. So what we're going to use in this first kind of laying the groundwork piece, as we're calling it, is 2 newspaper articles from the St. Louis American. For those of you that don't know what the St. Louis American is, it's a newspaper in St. Louis. It's been around since 1928. They've published without me missing a single issue, which is kind of crazy, right?
And I love these kinds of publications. Okay, I taught a journalism class, and these are the kinds of papers that we want to support, doing really good work, really interesting articles. But it has emerged as really the leading, most trusted voice in the area's African-American community.
Yeah. I think I read something about their distribution, 600,000 copies of the paper each month. So it's a pretty large newspaper. So just wanted to give viewers a background on what we're going to talk about. So Kevin, let's take a look at the articles that we have. So the first article we're going to talk about, kind of to give backstory, is from December of 2015. And kind of laying out this article, McCall Jr. was the mayor of Cahokia at this time. So the article is titled, "What Change Smells Like in Cahokia." James Ingram wrote it December 23rd of 2015.
And at that time, actually, Curtis McCall Jr. also worked at Cahokia High School. So I knew him. Lots of people remember when this was being published.
Right. And at that time, 2015, he was a teacher.
Yes.
Okay. So let's work through the article real quick. There's two of them, and you want to take.
Sure. So this basically starts out, and it talks about McCall, who was quoted as saying pretty often, by the way, this is what change looks like. He seems to have hit the ground running in terms of creating disharmony, instability, and political drama within his village.
So we've heard kind of that same phrase. This is what change looks like in bargaining.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yes.
So he takes over, first African American mayor, and the article says after firing about a dozen employees, he creates new patronage positions with inflated titles and salaries.
And we're again pretty familiar with the district as well.
Yes, we are.
Among the change, it says that McCall has created the positions of director and assistant director of recreation, each making as much as $60,000 per year in a village in which the skating rink, swimming pool, and basketball courts have been closed or are in a state of disrepair for years.
So hires two people, pays them 60 grand a year in a parks department when all of their parks and recreation are closed.
Yeah. And again, I lived this, so I kind of remember people talking about this. It was shocking when it happened.
Yeah.
And the people of Cahokia were pretty boisterous about it.
Okay. Article goes on to say McCall's penchant for serving as a literal hiring hall for probation and parole, employing at least 6 employees with criminal backgrounds, including former Allerton Mayor Joanne Reed, a felon as his deputy clerk. Reed was forced from office for smuggling contraband into an inmate while mayor of Allerton.
Yeah.
Again, that practice has kind of continued as superintendent as well. One of the proposals that we received from them, they even talked about that they hire a lot of people with records and they want to be able
criminal backgrounds.
Yeah.
In a school.
In a school. Yeah.
McCall's reply was simple, saying, quote, even our president is looking at prison reform because of the label that is attached to people, felons, and keeps them from getting hired. The problem with that logic is that President Obama doesn't employ any felons in his cabinet, the article states.
Right. Yeah, that was interesting when I read that.
Mm-hmm.
Article goes on to say, it talks about no bid contracts. However, no bid contracts, they're unethical, especially coming from an administration which came into office promising better government.
But instead, McCall has routinely ejected from village meetings those who disagree with his policies, and has even enacted an ordinance that allows the mayor to hire and fire personnel without bringing it before the board.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's a pattern.
It's a big pattern.
Yeah. Now, the most recent stunt by McCall was granted by himself and the village board of a no-bid $30,000 grass cutting contract to his brother, Kerchavian McCall, owner of Premier Landscaping, in an act of blatant nepotism.
We've got some McCalls on our payroll in the district now as well.
Right.
Mayor McCall's reply for this and most other questionable activity was, this is what change looks like.
Again, heard that over and over from him about change.
It's an interesting article that really kind of highlights some of what we've seen.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that's the first article. The next article, again, St. Louis American article from James Ingram wrote it October 17th, 2021. And New City, same betrayal of public trust. And the article's titled Cahokia Heist.
Cahokia Heist.
Right.
Yes. So the article begins with, it's an obscene stick up of the highest order, with the political heist being pulled off by people with no conscience, no integrity. Their personal greed and arrogance are their sole motivation. Those are strong words from this columnist, but as I read it, wow.
Yeah, those are strong words. But yeah, statistically, one of the poorest communities in the state of Illinois. according to census data, per capita income being less than 20,000 a year.
When that article, so the article with that information also was distributed even in our schools. And it's just a sad fact that there's a lot of people who really struggle in our community. So to have that happen.
These are your students, families, your students come from.
That hasn't stopped Mayor Curtis McCall Sr. and others from engaging in the same slick political profiteering and hookups that we've come to expect from, and they name some other communities.
Yeah. In this case, the salaries of office holders are as much as 4 times the income of the average resident. Most glaring.
It goes into like how shocking this is.
Right.
The most glaring is that of Mayor McCall at $85,000. Now that would be Mayor McCall
senior because he took over.
And his brother-in-law Christopher Belt, who draws $64,000 in an administrative position, while Belt earns additional money as an Illinois state senator.
Okay, so he works for the city as well. That's just the beginning. Former Allerton mayor, we talked about Joanne Reed. She's now being paid $72,000 to work in the Department of Nutrition. And it goes on to say this could be a reward for giving up her former job and agreeing to Allerton's merging into Cahokia Heights.
Well, and then the article references someone that I'm not familiar with, Lamar Johnson, who is on federal probation for making fictitious and fraudulent statements to investigators in 2017. Apparently, criminality means nothing to Cahokia Heights. Johnson is now earning a cool $82,175.
Yep. So what about nepotism? Mayor McCall made sure his son, we talked about Kachavian already, McCall will receive a comfortable $67,450 post in the water department.
So at some point during the intervening years, he must have moved to the water department.
Correct.
Then he says, in fact, maybe the city could be renamed Cahokia Heist because of the blatant and thoughtless way in which taxpayers are being insulted and robbed by the overly inflated salaries.
Right. 22 employees on the payroll earn an average of $69,000. And I'll point this out that this was back in 2021, while 68 hourly workers are projected to make $44,000 in a very poor community.
And it's obscene stick up of the highest order, with the political heist being pulled off by people with no conscience, no integrity. Their personal greed and arrogance are their sole motivation, he says in this article.
So 2 good articles that kind of set the tone for what we're going to talk about. And as we get into this, I want you to keep in mind, our viewers, this pattern, right? This pattern that the 2 articles talked about.
And I know that we've said this quote a number of times, but we also have from this superintendent that we are greedy, privileged, and protected.
Right. Yeah. Those are words he used about you and your members.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get right into the main segment. We're going to talk about the chosen one, and we're already 14 minutes into the show.
I feel like we haven't even gotten started.
I know.
There's so much to tell.
All right, so we're going to start when he was a teacher.
Okay.
When Junior was a teacher.
Yeah.
16-17 school year is where we're going to start.
He actually was hired in 2013, but this is where our information begins.
Yep. So as you see, 16-17, his school year salary was $48,520. Nothing alarming, earth-shattering there.
No. And then in 17-18, he is promoted to Dean of Students, and the raise there, it goes up to $85,069. Now, I mentioned to you when we were kind of planning this out, we don't always have a Dean of Students at Cahokia High School. So that was like kind of a surprise that they created that position, and that, he was just teaching a few years that he was promoted that fast.
Right. So $36,549 raise to the Dean of Students. So 18-19, the next school year, he's also the Dean of Students. Normal raise, $87,392. Couple $1,000 raise, a little more than $2,000. Pretty standard. Nothing alarming there.
But then in 1920, right, he becomes a principal. So he goes from dean he's promoted. So this is his second promotion in what, 3 years?
Second promotion in 3 years.
And now he makes $88,194.
Yeah. A promotion, but more kind of lateral, really.
Right. It's not a big money difference.
Yeah. So 2021, again, stays as a principal for 2 years. And the salary is $90,610. Nothing alarming there. Another couple $1,000, $2,500 raise, which probably is in line with everybody's raises at that time.
Yes, we all get the same raise.
Yeah.
Okay, so then in 21-22, though, something big happens. He is made Chief Educational Operations Officer, and he makes now $130,714.
What the heck is Chief Education Operations Officer?
Well, it was a position we never had before Mr. McCall,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a position that no longer exists as soon as he stopped being the Chief Education Operations Officer.
So sounds like it could be a made up position. I don't, my experience dealing with other districts, I don't know of any other district that has that title. I mean, I don't even know what that title is. You got superintendent, you got assistant superintendent, you got director this, director that. And it's funny because when we were prepping the show, I never even knew that was his title.
I had forgotten to.
Yeah, it's crazy. You just get kind of numb to the making of positions here.
So he goes teacher, dean of students, principal, and now this.
Yep. Chief
Education Operations Officer.
Right. So $130,000. He gets a $40,000 increase there. So 22-23, same title, Chief Education Operations Officer. Salary stays the same. The reason salary stayed the same is because in your contract, everyone's salary stayed the same. There was language that froze salaries, gave you a stipend, but then you made up your steps at a later date. So it's not unusual that his salary would stay the same for 22-23 as it was 21-22.
Right. Yeah. It's consistent with what was happening in our district at that time. Okay. So are we now at 23-24?
We are at 23-24.
You want to tell them what happens then?
So 23-24, Curtis McCall Jr. gets promoted to the superintendent of the Cahokia School District. And with his promotion to superintendent, he gets a large pay raise. It goes from $130,714 up to $198,000. So in 23-24, he received a $67,286 raise.
And he really hasn't been in education all that long compared to other school districts. Like what the other schools that you deal with, do they pay this to somebody who has no experience as a superintendent with a district of our size?
No, I mean, there's superintendents that, have been superintendents for years and years that don't make this amount of money. Plus, you couple that with, he's only been in education for what, 10, 11 years?
Since 2013. So
yeah. So,
well, and he may have had experience before he came to the district. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 23-24, 198,000. And then move on to 24-25.
And he moves up then to 216,930. So $18,930 increase for that year.
Right. So again, 216,000. You also have multiple assistant superintendents making roughly that amount. Director this, director that. And we're going to get into other titles. That's for another show. But it's crazy how fast he rose through the school district to form fame and fortune.
Well, the rise to power, we looked at 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And how many promotions?
4 promotions. 4 over 8 years.
I mean, I've been in the district since really 2000, if you count like when I student taught and when I was a sub. But I don't remember anybody getting this kind of movement, even in the Cahokia district.
Well, this this kind of climb
Mhm.
is right in line with the two articles,
It is.
right? The salary increases, the positions that are created, chief education operations officer that you've never had and you haven't had since. So 4 promotions from 2017 to 2025. We looked at 8 years, and over those 8 years, what's the number?
168,410.
So $168,410 in raises he received over 8 years.
And when you compare that to, other administrators or other districts, or even just our members, we're not growing at any kind of rate anywhere near close to this. This is unprecedented, really.
Yeah, it is crazy. Okay, so what do you say we pause right here?
What time is it?
It's time for breaking news. I'm calling you out. No. So in this episode of McCalling You Out, what are we going to talk about?
We'd like to kind of go back to the title that we teased for this episode, which was, and you came up with it, but The Chosen One.
The Chosen One.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he is the chosen one.
Yes.
So again, I just want to point out that in what we're going to talk about next, we've corroborated with multiple sources that were in the meetings that are going to detail the information that we're about to talk about.
Yeah. Multiple people.
Yep.
So we're going to take people back to this past August. This isn't as far back in history. So
Right.
Right. Just this past August, there was a meeting that took place. Mr. McCall, I believe, was the person leading this.
Yes.
Multiple departments were involved.
Yep.
In this. And some of it was to talk about some changes that were going to happen in the school district. Some people were being renamed. People that used to do certain jobs were going to be doing other jobs.
Right. So there was maybe some pushback amongst or questions around it. But in this meeting, Superintendent McCall says some things.
He did.
Do you want to say it or do you want me to?
I love it. You should say it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not a district employee either, so it's okay. So in the meeting, Superintendent McCall says that he was woken up from a deep sleep and God spoke to him and told him that he is the chosen one, right? That God then told him, being the chosen one, he alone is the only one that can fix the problems that are in Cahokia.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some other things that happened in that meeting. Now, he says he's the chosen one. He proclaims this, that he spoke with God. Mm-hmm. And but then he does some very unchosen-like things.
So in the same meeting where he says that he believes he's the chosen one, he also told people that they should be happy to get an MFing paycheck. But he didn't say MFing as politely as I am right now. He used the real words.
Right.
So cursed at them.
He did. Yep. But there's some other things he did as well, right? Mm-hmm. Let's go back a little further. Let's go back to when he first becomes superintendent.
And this is something that people still really talk about. It's a pretty shocking thing to have this happen, but it was his first back to school meeting as superintendent. So he's been given this important position. We have many schools in our district, elementary schools, a middle school, a high school, and then we also have some work sites for people who aren't real familiar with Cahokia. There's maintenance workers, and they have, a warehouse where they work, and there's secretaries that have sometimes department meetings. Right. He met with all of these people. He went It wasn't like he said something once and thought, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Right.
He went
Right.
to each of these locations and he gave basically like a back to school speech.
Mm-hmm. Which is typical in every district. Superintendents usually set the tone for the back to school meeting.
Yeah. And he talked about things that you would expect also, like things that he wanted to change, things that he didn't like from before. He wanted to change some things like the climate and the culture of the district.
Oh, he's done that.
He has. But Ray, I want you to try to remember, because you knew me at the time, we were really excited for this guy to be our superintendent. We had worked with him. He had been in our buildings. He had been a principal. He had been fairly decent to all of us. And we really did think he was going to do some great things. I was really rooting for him.
I remember the conversation you and I had.
Yeah. And so when he was talking about that he's going to change and improve the climate and culture, people were clapping. People were generally really excited about this. He also talked about things like improving test scores and the things that you would expect a superintendent,
of course,
to say. But then it took a turn.
It did.
There were some threats. We were told, under certain circumstances, he would fire us, and he used some profane words there as well.
Right.
And the exact quotes changed depending on the building, but the sentiment is still the same. Some groups he was a little bit tougher with, but all of them, he basically said to people, if you're not here for the students, then F you. But again, he used the actual word and
that we're not going to use here.
That we're not going to use, but it was shocking. It was shocking to go into our school buildings on the first day of school. We had brand new teachers straight out of college, new employees, new to the district. It was just so disrespectful to bring that kind of language and threats and things. And I know you're not a teacher, but you're in a teaching family. There's joy on the first day of school.
Yeah.
So to come back,
that
you're
had to
excited.
Be crushing.
It was crushing.
Yeah. So, my experience with all the districts that I have never heard of or been told a superintendent has threatened to fire people in meetings. I have never been told a superintendent used the F word in front of staff, in meetings, in front of a whole staff meeting. It just is unprofessional, very unchosen-like. It's awful.
In our contract, we even have language that if our members who aren't the administrator of an entire school district with all these credentials and things, if a regular employee does this, a non-certified employee, you can be fired for it without any discipline.
One of the things that they can skip progressive discipline for.
Yeah, threatening an employee.
Language, yeah. But I mean that is just scratching the surface of his behavior. I mean, when you proclaim you're the chosen one and your behaviors are the exact opposite, when you create positions and for family and friends, political friends, you hire unqualified people into overpriced positions, non-union positions, I'll say.
People with records to work around children.
Right. He's created other problems.
The staffing problems are the ones that bother me the most, because I think I'm in this position as union president because I deeply care about the rights of working class people. I deeply care about my profession. Education is a noble profession, and the people who go into that deserve some decency, and our students deserve decency. So every time a good teacher leaves our district, our kids get shortchanged, and he's created such instability. The turnover is appalling, and it's not okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many ways to fix or even talk about. Let's not even talk about fix. Let's talk about to try and solve the problems that are in the district. So you have open positions, you have people leaving in droves, right? And what do? We're not talking about, okay, how can we retain and attract people? How many times have you heard me say that? But he's doing the exact opposite.
And that's what's hard for people to understand. When people are like, but you guys need teachers. How can he be doing this to your sick leave you need teachers or you don't have enough.
Right.
And that's the part, I think, the disconnect. If you're not in Cahokia, or even if you are in Cahokia, it doesn't seemingly add up. And that's why we're kind of doing these shows to show it actually does.
Yeah.
It just, it's not the way decent people would run things.
Definitely not the way a chosen one would run things. All right. Well, that's your McCalling you out for this episode. So glad we got back to the McCalling you out. The below the belt was fun, but McCalling you out is, yeah.
That's a good one. Okay.
So what do you say we get back to the main segment?
Okay.
Kind of stick on a little bit of the theme of the McCalling you out, the chosen one, and how the chosen one acts. We're going to really focus in on what happens after he's made superintendent. That's what this last part of the segment is going to be about.
Yeah. So he's appointed beginning of the summer. It's June
of 23, I believe, right?
Yeah, 2023.
Yeah.
And you see on the screen the board briefs from then, and there's the appointment of Curtis McCall Jr. superintendent.
Yep. Along with Mark Jackson as board president, I'll point out too, just as a side note.
And we keep Arnett Harvey on the books. He's appointed as an assistant superintendent. We could have saved some money there, but we didn't.
A new position that's created, I might add, because we already had deputy superintendent Mitchell, and now they take Arnett from superintendent, make him an assistant superintendent.
And again, our community really can't afford this. And right, I know that this isn't something that we were going to talk about, but I am going to say over the years, my members have taken a lot of pay freezes and really tiny little, a stipend here kind of thing, because we were told there's just not the money for it.
Right.
And we believed that. I mean, I really don't think there's the money for this.
Right. Well, there isn't. I mean, let's be honest. There isn't money the way he spends money.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he becomes superintendent in June of 23. Has his first board meeting that he's a superintendent in July of 23.
Yes.
Right? July 25th of 23. And what does he do on July 25th as the chosen one?
So this is a special board meeting that he calls. He has the regular board meeting, and it's kind of typical, but then he calls a second one that month, a special board meeting, and he creates, he appoints a bunch of administrative people.
Right. And that's what you see highlighted on the document. Let's just talk about some of these. So let's just go through them real quick.
Okay.
And let's pick out the ones that maybe are controversial.
Okay.
Or new positions. How about that?
Sure.
Okay. So where do you want to start?
Well, I mean, some of them weren't that shocking at the time. They took a new direction. There's a new director of technology. He's been a teacher in the district for a lot of years, Alan Holtgravy. There was an assistant director of technology listed here. And again, these were changes. And anytime you have those kinds of changes, people, speculate about it.
Yeah.
Okay. We get an assistant director of security, but a couple of these stood out. I remember noticing lead security officer Tony Priest, because Tony I thought was retiring.
Tony was a director of security. He was overall of security, right?
Yes.
So they make him lead security officer.
Yes. Then they name somebody to be the director of curriculum. But then there's one that was really surprising to a lot of people. They created a job for Crystal McCall.
And Crystal McCall is?
Mr. McCall's wife.
Okay, Superintendent McCall's wife.
Director of Transportation is the title. And we had never had a director of transportation as far back as, that I can recall, because we have a bus company that we contract out with.
You contract out your bus company. You don't own buses.
We used to.
Right, you don't anymore.
Right.
And we'll talk about what other school districts do in this situation, but okay. So what's the next position?
Director of Principal Leadership and Accountability went to Carmen Williams Bonds, and wasn't really sure what that was.
So what the hell does that mean?
No one knows.
That sounds like,
or we didn't know at the time. We know now what she does, but yeah, it was new.
It sounds like that is a job that a superintendent or assistant superintendent or deputy superintendent could potentially do.
And you would think that would be mentoring principals, holding them to high standards, working with them evaluating them. That's what you would expect a superintendent to do.
Right. But wait a second. You also have on here principal mentor in addition to director of principal leadership and accountability.
And again, that one went to my former principal, somebody that actually hired me into the district, Kevin Bement. He's retired principal. So to see him come back in a new position was kind of shocking.
So what does a principal mentor do?
Well, now I know that he is housed at the middle school.
Uh-huh.
And I believe he goes to the building sometimes and talks to the different principals. I have called him a couple of times for, situations that have come up, but I'm not sure what his day-to-day really looks like.
Okay. All right. We'll leave that there. Next position, attendance and parent director. That is Kevin Wiggins.
And we have never had an attendance and parent director as far as I can recall. But Kevin Wiggins was a name that I did know.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you know his name?
His name actually was in the media because of a voter fraud situation in Cahokia.
Yeah, Kevin Wiggins went to jail for voter fraud for a short time, and he gets a job with the school district, gets a promotion here to attendance and parent director, and now he even has another promotion, doesn't he? Or is that his title now still?
I think it might. I can't remember if it's still his.
Okay, maybe it's still the same thing, attendance and parent director. Okay. Let's see.
I'm not sure if we had director of CTE. I can tell you that the Perkins grant is how we fund a lot of our CTE stuff in Cahokia. And that grant, I just saw one of the people who used to help with it tonight at the food pantry. We went to the food pantry for something that we always do. And I ran into Bob Frisch, longtime teacher in the district. And he was paid a stipend to help with that. When he decided he didn't want to do it anymore, another one of our teachers at the high school, she took it over, and it just got to be a lot for her. And we kind of joked that when she gave it up and gave up the stipend, that it might become like a full-time job with the way that things were going.
Right.
And then we see on here, director of CTE. So now the department has a whole director position.
And there's a couple other titles, but the rest of these are kind of principal positions, whatever. So his first act creates these positions. Well, he doesn't even create these positions. He just appoints people into these positions, I should say. Okay. And we're going to get to his wife in a second. But what does he do in the next board meeting in August, since we're talking about these positions? We're going to go out of order here, Kevin, a bit. I'm making the executive decision.
So the month after all of these names appear in these jobs, he officially creates the positions.
So how backward is that? You put people in positions that don't exist, and then the next month, a month later, the board creates the positions that you already hired people into.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in other districts.
But this type of thing is now really common in Cahokia, and it really wasn't before this. This type of thing just didn't happen.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen in other districts, I can tell you that. I mean, again, an interesting show would be looking at another district, the titles that another district has compared to the titles your district has from an administrative standpoint. So that's a
good idea.
Interesting.
And how many positions did they actually were new there?
So in this document, he created 17 new positions. So it ties right into the articles that we looked at again. This is exactly what he does. Creates positions. It's what they did back in 2015, what his dad's doing today, what he's doing. Creates positions, and then you hire political friends. Kevin Wiggins, we talked about him. The article talked about people that went to jail. It is a pattern of behavior that is alarming.
And I know that my members have been saying for a long time, where's the state?
Yeah. That brings a whole nother problem with it, though, bringing the state in. Okay, so let's get back to his wife. Because first board meeting, He also promotes his brother to a position, but we're going to focus on his wife
Yeah.
right now. And I know we did a Facebook post about this, but we want to talk about it here since it's relevant to the topic. So his wife gets promoted, and let's pull up. Okay, so here we have Crystal McCall, and it kind of details out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 years.
And we could go back because she was a secretary
Right.
when she started.
So 2021 Transportation Food Service Liaison. Do we have any idea what that does?
I'm not 100% sure, but she goes from an exempt secretary job into this position, and it was raised for her.
Okay, 64,593. 2022, same thing, same title. Kind of a pretty decent raise there. $4,000, 3,500 roughly. 2023, same thing, transportation. 70,510. Her husband gets promoted to superintendent, and then what happens?
98,182.
Mm-hmm. She gets a significant raise, $27,672 raise.
My goodness.
In addition to his huge raise that he got. So he does that for him and his family, puts his wife in the position.
Yeah.
2025, what does her raise do?
Now it's 114,591.
Right.
So,
And no telling what it is this year or what his salary is this year because those numbers, we don't have those numbers yet.
right.
So if you look at the 4-year total for her, she received just under 50,000 in raises in a 4-year span.
And we thought Tanya's was a lot.
We did. We absolutely
We're seeing a pattern.
did. Yeah, I mean, this is again right in line with the articles. I mean, it is shockingly parallel to what happened in the city and what's happening here. It's a family pattern for sure.
And there's so much to tell with this. I mean, this is just what happens in his first days as superintendent.
Yep. Yeah. First meeting.
We have so much more to share.
I mean, you know, in one meeting, do you remember, and I don't know where we were in your district somewhere, and he made a comment, I think maybe to me or to you or to us, I don't remember, but he said something like, do you think I'm a dictator? Or you're acting like I'm a dictator. Do you remember that?
I kind of do remember it.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact context, but it was something like that. And we really didn't know how to respond then, but the answer, if he asked me that question again now, the answer would be, yeah, I really do think you're a dictator. You're acting like you're a dictator.
Yeah, he very much is.
So that's we're at 43 minutes, so we should probably start winding this thing down. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so what do we have coming up, Wendy?
So I want everybody to mark their calendars. There's a board meeting in December, obviously, December 8th, and it'll be at 6:30, and we will publicize the location when that information is available. And I know we have a lot of friends. Even last night at the Central Labor Council, people asked about that meeting. So
we need to do another live show soon.
Yeah, I think
the
so.
live show was fun.
Mhm.
And I don't know about the December 1st show. It's kind of short notice to do a live show, but maybe we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll make the December 1st one live.
Okay.
So there's our teaser for the December 1st show. Kinda, sorta qualified.
Yeah.
Okay, pull that off, Kevin, and let's
I know that it feels like we've been at the table for a long time, but we need people to not get tired. And so please continue liking and sharing our information every day. Add comments to whatever we post. Make sure you're telling people. Everywhere I go, I tell people about the podcast. I know you do too.
Yeah, it's all I talk about. It's kind of fun.
All of that keeps us in the media.
Yeah, the graphic was spelled incorrectly. I saw that. That's why I asked Kevin to pull it down.
Oh.
So, yeah.
We have a large teacher audience. Of course, they're going to notice.
Yeah, I noticed it as much as we go through this stuff. So I'll take the blame for that one. Okay, so what do you think about parting thoughts?
Okay, so for parting thoughts, I'm going to kind of focus on two coworkers. But I want to say that the actions of a superintendent have consequences. His policies affect real people. Every dollar that is spent on friends and family, those are dollars that he could be spending on our students and their education. Every time he creates a policy, real people, sometimes kids, sometimes staff, they're harmed. And I'm going to share, because in my position, I get a lot of that inside stuff. Like I know the things that other people don't know. So I have permission from these two folks to talk about this. But one is one of my coworkers in my hallway. She's a fabulous teacher. She's been here a long time, and she has a lot of sick days. She doesn't take off very often, but she had 2 incidents this week. And this is how his policies affect people. My friend Jessica has a mother who is in a nursing home, and she doesn't live close by. She's like about an hour away. And when she had to go to the ER, Jessica really couldn't leave work. Now, most of us take those kinds of things for granted, that if something like that happens, we can take off, and we always could before. Okay. If we had that kind of thing happen, she should not have to miss that in her life.
Absolutely.
And but because it becomes tricky to get the ER for someone in a nursing home to provide a note for her daughter to like be off to go,
Right.
She can't. And that really makes me angry as those things happen, because it's really unfair, and she shouldn't have to go through that. The other one is even more shocking. So do you remember Miss Walker?
I do.
Okay, so Miss
Sweet
Walker
lady.
is a sweet, sweet woman. She's worked for the district as a paraprofessional. It's paraprofessional day, by the way. Thank you to all paras. And she had been off work for a while, and she came back to school. And the day she returned, everybody listening, you guys, she just didn't feel right. And she was kind of clammy, kind of sweaty, like her arms and legs felt weird. But getting a doctor's note, if you leave school because you're unwell, you're going to have to prove it. And she just didn't know she could. So you guys, she stayed at work, and she was having a heart attack. And when she left work, she went to the ER, and she ended up in intensive care. She had to have stents put in her heart. People's lives matter. If you're not well, you should be able to go home if you have sick leave.
Yeah.
And all of these policies that he's creating, like zero tolerance for anybody, no matter how great their track record is, it's very unfair. And I just want people to know this is the kind of stuff we're fighting for. This isn't just about a raise for us or something small. These are big issues.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
And we're praying for you, by the way, Miss Walker.
Yeah, she's a very sweet,
Mhm.
sweet person. Glad it worked out for her.
Yeah.
The other night. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to add it much. I think your parting thoughts was right on point there. I'll just say that when you proclaim yourself as the chosen one, your actions should match what that title comes with. And I would urge him to look up some characteristics of a chosen one and to try to live by those standards. And if that happens, and if he does that, we probably will make some progress in negotiations because he will have some empathy for folks. He will not do the things that he's doing, but that's not going to happen. So I think it's unfortunate. I think the article shows exactly who he is. There was a preview back in 2015 to his leadership style, and it's coming exactly true. So, Superintendent McCall, buckle up, Junior, because we're coming.